Amanda Bynes placed on a psychiatric hold after walking naked in L.A. The good news is that she called 911 on herself. So she's aware that the behavior was not great, right? But Amanda Bynes, you know, she was underneath a conservatorship for a while. And she was also engaged for a while. And the conservatorship has ended. And then also her engagement ended. But Amanda Bynes was walking around L.A. She dropped out of the 90s con. She had, due to an unspecified illness.
She's
is
a
what
Disney
they're saying.
star?
Amanda Bynes was,
Disney.
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
Oh,
what was it?
Nickelodeon. She was all that, and then she had the Amanda show on Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay. A child
I don't know
star.
why I think
Yeah.
that Nickelodeon
They're all seem kind of
Disney
blend
are all the
together.
same.
Now, and she has
Yeah.
obviously some mental issues, I would say. But is was she also a drug addict or anything, or a substance abuse?
I don't know.
Give that a goog.
Maybe.
Mankiss or Squid.
I know that she has, doesn't she have a tattoo on her face now?
I think so.
She had a tattoo. She had a lot of piercings. She would dye her hair. Not
Probably
that equals
self-
drug use, but it was.
Well, yeah, but it went from like clean cut to like radical change.
Yes. You remember how Miley Cyrus went from just, you know, Hannah Montana, and I don't want to be that character anymore. And then she kind of went the complete opposite.
Yeah, that was
Amanda
on
Bynes
purpose,
did.
and
I think Amanda Bynes did the same thing. She was more sweet, innocent child star, and then grew up and didn't want to be that anymore. And so, according to an eyewitness, Amanda, after dropping out of the 90s con, in the early morning hours, waved down a car, completely naked, told them that she was coming down from a psychotic episode, and then she called 911 on herself. She wasn't hurt. Now she's in the hospital. She's under a psychiatric hold, which typically lasts about 3 days. It can be extended,
oh my gosh,
but it's typically 3.
And Jason Goodman, I believe this to be correct. Katie and I talked about this, I think, before the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Her conservatorship, and Katie didn't mention it, but I think it like just ended a couple days ago.
Ooh.
So we're kind of against
very
these things
recent.
being long term, but sometimes it might be necessary.
Well, I
Because
think they need to be
you didn't hear
reevaluated.
about her in a couple of years.
Yeah, no, that's true. And now I do think that they can serve their purpose. I'm not anti.
No, I'm not
but
either.
I am anti when it is taking over every single decision
And there's no end.
and there's
Yeah,
no end.
Yeah.
I think they should be reevaluated, and you might not always get it right, but at least, like in this case, let's say the conservatorship helped her, and they reevaluated and think we're going to give her a try, and then it didn't work. Okay, then we start something new.
Yeah.
Unlike Britney, that was just like left there.
Rest of your life.
For
yeah.
years and years and years with no end in sight.
Right.
Had there not been a huge deal made about it.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd still be under it. Still.
Right. It is sad because you just see somebody, and Britney Spears too, but Amanda Bynes severely mentally ill, and she can't help it. Like you
no,
can't help
she
that.
can't help it.
That's the
It's
sad
a
thing.
sickness.
You don't think this had to do with any drugs, correct?
I don't know.
So
What did
the,
we find?
the number one thing that it keeps mentioning here is her over abuse of Adderall, but then there's also articles where she talks about cocaine and ecstasy use.
Okay. And there's plenty of people who do that stuff and they have no problems.
A
But
lot
yeah.
of it coexist, though, at times. Alcohol and drugs coexist with mental illness because you feel terrible that the drugs make you feel
euphoric.
You're like
who's the guy
self-medicating.
from, who's the guy from Jackass?
Bam.
Not
Margera?
Bam, but the other
Steve-O.
one. Steve-O has a really good explanation of what that feels like. Because he says it's more of a mental illness and what the alcohol or disease almost, and what alcohol and drugs do to fix it. And yeah,
Sure.
And I know a lot of people, and I'm not judging anybody, people are doing what they can, but Adderall, but the long-term use of Adderall, I've had people send me some studies about it because people take it in college or they might take it to focus or maybe for work.
And now prescribing it wildly to younger children.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
starting young.
ADHD is widely diagnosed.
I think it's one that kind of goes under the radar, but it's starting to get more information out as time has gone on, where it can trigger severe mental illness if you take it and abuse it and take it for
That's the
too
problem.
many years.
I think with because the other one, Ritalin, is the other HDH, which is very popular. They're both stimulants, right? So, but one works differently than the other, and both of them can be addicted, and both of them can be abused. And abusing it is the big problem. Abusing changes everything, which causes addiction. But now they have these slow release ones that are supposed to be a lot better, so you're not feeling this high, I guess you can get off them until you start snorting it or something, which Amanda Bynes,
She was
if she was
doing?
snorting it, that changes everything.
Snorting Adderall, or you're talking about, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or either one. She said somebody mentioned she had an Adderall.
Matt.
Was it Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. She could have been snorting it and abusing it, and that.
Well, then you mix
Or like a high
cocaine
dosage of
and
it.
ecstasy.
And
in
the more I'm
mix.
reading, she says she never really liked the taste of alcohol, and the cocaine was only like 3 times,
Okay,
and then
okay.
she stopped. But she said the Adderall progressed to eventually like ecstasy and Molly and things
Well, I
like
think
that.
Adderall, the tricky part with any sort of prescription drug, whether it's, you have a back surgery and you're on
Yeah, you want to talk
anti-pain
about
medication.
opioids. Yeah.
Yeah, all that's been a major problem. Is that it's prescribed, and typically you're helping yourself in that moment, and a doctor's prescribing it. So you're like, well, this is fine. I think mentally, I would think that
Sure.
way. The doctor gave this to me, so it's okay. And then you get like addicted to it, and you keep taking it, and then you don't realize why you're acting a certain way, and it's like, oh, could it be the long-term use of whatever
Sure.
you're
And then
abusing?
your body sometimes physically needs it, physically, not even mentally. But the Amanda Bynes thing, to me is, you mentioned something, Katie, that Miley Cyrus Hannah Montana was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The thing about Hannah Montana is she knew, or at least her advisors, which were probably correct, told her she had to get rid of that image if she was going to continue to succeed, because she was getting older and she had to have a completely different image. So you have a lot of these Disney stars all of a sudden break away and try to have a completely different image, because once you start becoming an adult, it's like they don't want that teeny bop kitty
Oh,
image.
sure.
So
That's
yeah.
like
I
from
don't
the dawn
know
of time. Yeah. Well, no, I
Amanda
absolutely
Bynes, yeah.
think that happened. Now, I just learned Amanda Bynes was not Disney. She was Nickelodeon. Same exact thing.
But I wonder if she,
Yeah.
like her production or her managers told her to be that way, or she just was sick of it. And Miley Cyrus was literally over trying to be that way to get rid of the image. You know what I
Well,
mean?
do you remember
Yeah.
not so long ago, Amanda Bynes had a song with her fiance at the time.
Oh,
we played
yeah,
it.
we
Do you remember?
did. We
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Yeah. Now,
remember
I
how
don't
it went.
know if that has anything to do with her
doesn't
trying
help.
to change her image, because she was already having some psychotic episodes while she was with him. Her ex-fiance, his name is Paul Michael, and he is talking, because of course he is. He says that she stopped taking her medications and that she's quote unquote wild. Okay, that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all.
Thank you
know.
for your diagnosis.
Yeah, thank you.
Real quick, just because we want to give out information, I wanted to be
Can
clear
we try
about
to find that song while you're doing that?
Called
Yeah.
Diamonds.
Okay.
diamonds. All right,
Yeah.
Matt, can you try to grab that? But us, we give out information. People are like, "What was that?" But the long-term Adderall effects, it talks about one of the long-term, even short-term. If you do short-term high dosage or prolonged use, can lead to psychosis. So we're
Be very
it
careful.
takes away your cognition, and it can actually cause like a mental illness. It like changes your brain. So just be careful with stuff.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know in a few years.
Yes.
Oh, you're on
I'll
that,
let y'all know. Have been.
but you're low
have been.
dose.
Yes.
Well, I think it's the doctor has to prescribe it correctly.
That's all,
And
yeah.
When you start messing with it, and because basically, I know a lot of people, even in college, when I was at college, they would do Adderall and do overdose on it. They get that euphoric feeling, and then when you come down from it and crash, it's just like any other drug out there, right?
Right.
That you need it again to get that feeling. Where if you're taking the prescribed drug, you shouldn't have that feeling. It's supposed to correct what's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not, people who are on it, I says be careful with it.
I
And-
think
oh,
they
sorry.
do a good job. I won't say nice job, because there's lots of people who abuse it, but a good job of prescribing 30 days, because then you have to go in and check with somebody and see
They
and
ask you
see how you're doing
questions,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. But it's the those who don't need it, who go to get it and then are selling it or giving it to friends or using it recreationally.
And you know what they're
Right.
saying lately? One of the biggest, highly addictive drugs is Xanax.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Especially you take too much of it, you get this feeling, or you feel like that I guess you can do anything or whatever it is, and they say that it's one of now the highest and most potential abuse now is Xanax.
I believe it.
Let y'all know in a few years. The uppers and the downers.
I mean, I've heard a lot of it about it lately.
Present that
Yeah.
down.
Well, I mean, it also, for somebody who has anxiety,
Yeah, sure.
it shuts off my mind for a while, and I will tell you, it has been a lifesaver for me. And mine is, again, super low dose, but it has been a lifesaver for me to be able to shut off that anxiety so that I can sleep, so that I
Right.
can function, so that I can, it's just.
It does very well with anxiety, except that your body, if you continue to take it, starts getting tolerant to it, and it require an increase of dose with it, and then you got to be very careful with Xanax. I know that.
Well, just say anything. I mean, and that's why they warn athletes too that especially NFL players, they're going to get hurt and they put them on pain pills or
Yes.
painkillers and different types, and they had surgery. So they didn't do anything wrong,
Right.
and it starts innocently. Like Brett Favre started innocently with back pain and surgeries and different things, and then he came out and said, I was addicted to it, and I was doing like shady stuff to get it and all that. Yeah.
Well, you know, the Department of Justice just sued Rite Aid, the chain,
For what?
because they think they're going to try to prove that they contributed to the opioid crisis by not looking at the red flags that either doctors or prescriptions that came in. They actually now are suing Rite Aid, which is crazy.
Rite Aid,
you know?
Yeah, because they're just
they're filling the prescription.
Yeah, that
from the doctors.
are already written.
They think they have some kind of evidence that shows. See, here's the fine line. There's people that really need this, especially for like chronic back pain, which is very tricky, right?
Right.
Because you're living with pain. But the thing to take away that pain so you can actually have an enjoyable life is very addictive.
Right.
So, and you don't want them not to get it. At the same time, you want to limit it so it's not in the right hands, of the wrong hands of abuse. You know, and it's very tricky.
It
in
is,
my opinion.
Yeah. Did we find the song?
I have it. Yes.
This is Amanda Bynes and her fiance.
Diamonds on my neck, on my wrist. Diamonds
Pretty hot,
on my fist. Yeah, I'll wet. Diamonds on my neck, on my wrist.
Filtered.
Diamonds on my fish. Yeah, I'll wet.
And that is the only clean portion of the song that we can play.
Okay.
That will be it.
Maybe back on the conservatorship. Maybe it's the best for everybody.
Maybe. I don't know. She's on a This is Amanda Bynes on a psychiatric hold, yes.
Okay.
Which typically lasts around 3 days, and then she gets the help that she needs, and then
I'm
move
glad
forward
that
from there. Yeah.
she was at least self-aware enough to call.
Yes.
She knew what was going on.
She called 911 herself. Yeah.